Hey, how's it going, friends? Welcome to VR Revelations once again. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you give this video a like if you could, and make sure you subscribe so you can get notifications when I release more videos. And also make sure to check the links in the description. You can go over and subscribe to my Rumble channel. And also, if you'd like to support the channel, you can use the links there. Anyways, it is February the 10th, the year of our Lord 2023. And I was looking through the news, and apparently the United States tested an intercontinental ballistic missile, I believe, yesterday. Now, this article by Fox News here was published today, as you can see here, February 10th. But I believe this missile might have been tested yesterday, which would make it Thursday. But we'll be taking a read at this. If you don't know, these intercontinental ballistic missiles are essentially these enormous missiles that can carry nuclear weapons, and they're designed to pretty much strike anywhere in the world. Most of the nuclear superpowers like to say that these things will only be used for self-defense purposes, but I believe they're going to be used eventually offensively, just as they were used during World War II when the United States bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Of course, many of you might have heard of Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And even beyond that, according to biblical prophecy, when the world ends, it will be by fire. And I think that's why these nuclear weapons were invented. I think God allowed man to discover these weapons to fulfill his prophecies. But anyways, the United States and the West likes to make a big fuzz whenever North Korea and all these other countries that aren't friendly to the U.S. Test these intercontinental ballistic missiles. But when they do it, it goes unnoticed. Nobody in the mainstream media has really been reporting on this, except for Fox News, so credit to them. But anyways, we're going to be reading here about this intercontinental ballistic missile that was launched from California. So let's go on the map, guys. So this missile was launched from California, as you can see right over here on the west of the United States. California is right here, of course. And so it looks like it was launched into the Pacific Ocean, specifically in the area, as we see here, as I marked on Google Maps, around these Marshall Islands in Wyalene Atoll. So it's no mystery that there is a lot of tension right now between China and the United States. Of course, China is right over here, and then right next to it, as we can see, is Taiwan, which has been the topic of discussion as of lately, because we know that China is looking to reunify Taiwan and bring it into mainland China's authority, right? And all the while, the United States has sort of been arming Taiwan, much like they were doing with Ukraine. Now, again, I'm not going to get in a philosophical or ideological debate about this. This is pretty much war, as it always has been from ancient times. Different kingdoms, different countries fighting over territory, fighting over ideologies, making claims to pieces of land based on historical events, yada, yada, yada. But yes, we know that, in the United States, there have been a couple of Chinese spy balloons flying around as of recently, and a lot of people, have been going crazy over those Chinese spy balloons, according to what the United States has said. I believe China said they were weather balloons. And a lot of people did criticize Joe Biden and his administration and the military for not shooting down those balloons right away. Eventually, they did. A report just came out that apparently they shot another one down um, near Alaska, right up here. So this is only adding to the tension right now, and this intercontinental ballistic missile is just only going to add fuel to the fire. Now, eventually, I think we are going to have a Ukraine 2.0 here in Taiwan. And of course, I think anybody that's honest will tell you that China is more than likely going to win that war when it takes place, because it is going to take place because, again, Taiwan has been infected with the American ideology. At the same time, the United States literally says that, they respect China's position. They acknowledge that Taiwan is not an independent nation, and that it is part of China. But again, they're saying one thing and doing another. So they have been arming Taiwan here, but this will be a lot more difficult, a more difficult situation for the United States because of the logistics. It's going to be a lot harder for them to, arm Taiwan. As you see, there's nothing but ocean here, and also because of the proximity to China. And so what they're trying to do right now is, arm it as best as they can before the battle actually starts. I believe some American general stated that he's expecting a war with China, possibly over Taiwan, by the year 2025. I think it could come a lot sooner, guys, if not by the mid to end of this year. In 2024, I do see that as a possibility. Again, it looks like this is all leading into a major disruption in international relations here, and I think that a war with China, much like is happening right now in Ukraine, right, where the United States is fighting a proxy war with a major nuclear superpower, will only be more catastrophic for the economy of the United States, because pretty much everything in the U.S., whether it's from iPhones to your silverware, is made in China. They hold a lot of the production down here. And the fact that China and Russia are more allies than either of them are with the United States right now is definitely not good for the U.S. But again, like some people have said, when all else fails, they take you to war. But more than that, I think this has biblical connotations. I think biblical prophecies are being fulfilled right now. And before there is a manifestation of the New World Order that people are expecting, which the Bible talks about in the book of Revelations when it says that nobody will be able to buy or sell except those that receive the mark of this New World Order. And so I think everything taking place right now is going to create this divide where you're going to have the United States on one side with its allies, and then you'll have China and Russia, working together, and the New World Order will come via the United States, and then eventually I think that will escalate into World War III. But I think that it's no mystery that we're probably going to see a Ukraine 2.0 in Taiwan here pretty soon, and I think it's pretty obvious that China is going to win that conflict, but there is going to be major economic disruptions, guys. If you think that the Ukraine conflict has caused economic disruptions in the world right now, you haven't seen anything yet. Once the United States and China completely cut off economic ties, I mean, it's going to be historical, worse than the Great Depression. I can guarantee you that. But again, there will be a great deception that comes upon the earth, according to the Bible, where there will be prosperity through this new world order system, which will be headed by the Antichrist, literally Satan incarnate in a man, and it's gonna look so good. It's gonna be so close to looking like a miracle of God that even Christians themselves that really aren't centered on the Bible will be fooled by this whole movement. And of course, you will have the mark of the beast via this new economic order. Now, again, that's just my spiritual biblical analysis of what I believe is going to take place. But we know the Bible spoke of nations rising against nations. And yeah, it seems that the United States, with this intercontinental ballistic missile launch here, is cyber rattling. They're trying to agitate the situation. They're trying to let China know that, hey, look, we can hit mainland China with nuclear missiles. You're not the only ones. They're also trying to warn North Korea, of course, who is a nuclear superpower. And so it's very interesting because there is talks of Russia possibly holding nuclear tests, like an actual nuclear explosion. So I think this is only gonna it's gonna encourage Russia to carry out these nuclear tests out. So we definitely need to keep an eye out for that. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this article by Fox News here. It says the U.S. Air Force launched an unarmed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile test from California in a show of nuclear readiness. Now, let me just show you the missile, guys. This is the missile. It's a huge missile. If there was a person standing next to it, he would be around down here. So, again, they can load these things with multiple nuclear bombs. I mean, these things can take out entire cities. Although I got to say, I believe Russia and China's intercontinental ballistic missiles technology is ahead of the United States, being able to achieve greater speeds. But in a nuclear conflict, essentially it's mutually assured destruction. So, anyways, it says the test launched at 11:01 p.m. Pacific time from Vandenberg Space Force base in California. The base announced on Friday. Okay, well, today is Friday, so I'm assuming at 11:01 p.m. on Thursday was the launch. It was a routine activity intended to demonstrate that the United States nuclear deterrent is safe, secure, reliable, and effective, according to the announcement. A test launch displays the heart of our deterrence mission on the world stage, assuring our nation and its allies that our weapons are capable and our airmen are ready and willing to defend peace across the globe at a moment's notice. Not really peace, rather your interests, which is what every nation does, said General Thomas A. Bouzier, Air Force Global Strike Command commander. China claims Congress dramatizing spy flights with bipartisan resolution. The Air Force said the intercontinental ballistic missiles test re-entry vehicle traveled approximately 4,200 miles to the Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands, showing the accuracy and reliability of the U.S. intercontinental ballistic missile. So I showed you on the map, guys. The missile landed right about here where you see the marker. So you can see California is over here, and it was launched near these islands. You can see the Marshall Islands are right here. So, yeah, it traveled quite a distance there. And it's definitely a threat to China for sure. It's definitely a show of force aimed at them more than anyone else. This launch showcases the redundancy and reliability of our strategic deterrence systems while sending a visible message of assurance to allies, said Colonel Christopher Cruz, 377th Test and Evaluation Group Commander. This multilateral team reflects the precision and professionalism of our command and our joint partners, Cruz added. The test launch comes days after the U.S. government shot down a Chinese spy balloon off the coast of South Carolina. The balloon, which traveled across the continental United States before it was taken out, has been linked to a surveillance program run by the People's Republic of China, China's military. Again, all these major superpowers spy on each other all the time, guys, not just through these balloons. But it is pretty, it's pretty funny that this balloon was flying around the U.S. there. It would have been even funnier if it had a giant red sign that said like "Made in China" with like Xi Jinping's face on it. That probably would have been funnier. It also follows a show force from North Korea's military, which paraded up to 12 individual Hwasong 17 ICBM launchers. Political reported. So North Korea, of course, they've been on the news constantly for carrying out nuclear tests and nuclear missile tests. And they just held a parade in North Korea where they paraded a lot of their nuclear missiles. They've ramped up production, and I think these missiles are based on Russian technology. So, again, North Korea is a nuclear capable state, guys, one of the few in the world. That's why, as much as the U.S. hates them and all its allies, they wouldn't dare actually launch a military operation on North Korea because they can literally destroy Japan and all the other countries around them. And they continue to produce these things at quite a fast pace. So you can see this is from the parade they just held, and you can see all the missiles here. Also, at this parade, Kim Jong-un's daughter was made an appearance here. I'm not sure if this was the first time, but usually she hasn't been seen, and she did come out on the parade there. And so, there's rumors now that she could take up the leadership there in North Korea. Of course, others say that it could be Kim Jong-un's sister. But yeah, Kim Jong-un looks pretty healthy himself still, so he might be alive for the end of the world there. But anyways, let's keep on reading here. It says, officials said the launch was planned months in advance across multiple Air Force agencies. Department of Defense Press Secretary Brigadier General Patrick Ryder told reporters Wednesday the U.S. had been tracking China's surveillance practices before the latest balloon arrived stateside last week. We are now learning more about the scale of this Chinese balloon surveillance program, which U.S. intelligence and the Pentagon have been observing for several years, he said. Our awareness and understanding of this capability has increased. When you look at the scope of this program, operating over at least 5 continents in the regions like Latin America, South Asia, East Asia, and Europe, again, it demonstrates why, for the Department of Defense, that China remains the pacing challenge and something that will continue to stay focused on, Ryder added. Again, guys, all this is clearly leading to war with China, more than likely over Taiwan. I don't think, of course, we're going to have a direct confrontation, but I think we're possibly going to see a ramp up in economic sanctions, and then at some point China will make a move for Taiwan, because again, the longer they wait for Taiwan to reinforce themselves with U.S. weapons, then the more difficult it will be for China, the more deaths of soldiers that they will suffer. So it's better for them to try and take control of Taiwan sooner rather than later, just politically speaking and militarily speaking. And I think the U.S. is very aware of this. And so I think when this does take place, I think that's going to lead to this historical economic collapse worldwide. And I think the U.S. will not know what to do. Of course, I don't think the U.S. is going to be willing to, start a nuclear holocaust over Taiwan, much like I don't believe they'll be willing to do that over Ukraine either. But again, I think that this is all leading to a World War III scenario later on. Um, but yeah, I think that once the United States uh, goes to war with China, at least through a proxy war here through Taiwan, we are going to see a major historical economic collapse like we've never seen before. But a little after that, I think that the United States, as crazy as this might sound, guys, go look at my video. The Great Deception that is coming is going to unite with its allies, and this is going to take a spiritual meaning. This whole thing, it's going to turn into a spiritual sort of war. And on one side, you're going to have the United States, and allied with Rome, with the Vatican, with the Catholic Church, and all of the U.S.'s allies are going to be, they're going to create this new world order. Then the Antichrist will manifest himself and take control of this whole system. Again, he's not going to come out and say, hey, I'm the Antichrist, I'm Satan. This guy is going to look like he's going to be a religious figure, if you catch my drift, and he's going to fool the Christians that really aren't cemented in the biblical teaching. But this whole move is going to be satanic. Now I'm talking to spiritually minded people, to people that believe in the scriptures, because above everything that is going on right now in politics, I think that God's word, of course, has foretold us of these times in which we are living in. Remember, guys, the truth is stranger than fiction. And so eventually, as in the book of Revelations it states, this New World Order, right, where nobody can buy and sell except those that take the mark of the beast. I know some people think that the mark of the beast is already here, but I don't believe that is. I think it's going to be religious. And people can still buy and sell. I actually haven't taken any of those, not because of that, just because I was too lazy and I work from home, and so I didn't need it. But when the actual mark comes, people will literally not be able to buy and sell. There will be a boycott for those that don't accept this new world order. They'll probably label you as a communist, as a bigot and whatnot, as we see signs of already. And so there's going to be this multipolar world where we already see this since the Ukrainian conflict started. You're going to have Russia and China on one side, the United States and its allies, and then eventually when the pressure grows so much, then we will have a nuclear holocaust, the end of the world. And again, you don't have to be spiritual, guys, to understand that we're heading to a World War III scenario. I mean, even the scientific community has their doomsday clock, which I covered. All the signs are there. And so right now is the time to prepare. And I don't mean prepare with bunkers. I don't mean prepare with food and whatnot. I mean prepare by drawing closer to God, right? Because, again, the truth is stranger than fiction, guys, but these are prophecies that we are seeing right now. And the Bible tells us that God is in control of the earth. He's in control of the governments. Yes, he lets the devil do what he is doing now. He lets the devil influence this world, this fallen world. But ultimately, even the devil is working under the parameters of God to carry out his purpose. And so God is completely in control of all these nations. And again, I'm not pro-Russian, I'm not pro-American, I'm not pro any country or man. I'm pro-Christ, I'm pro-Bible, I'm pro-God. And all these nations will pass away, guys. Humanity will be judged. Humanity will be burnt, much like the Bible tells us that in Noah's day God destroyed the world by fire. The Apostle Peter prophesied in the second epistle of Peter, chapter 3, that the day would come that would burn like an oven, where the elements would melt with a fervent heat and everything would be dissolved, right? The earth will be purified of corruption, of evil, of sin by fire. And so that's why I believe God allowed these nuclear weapons to be invented. So we are sort of going to fulfill that prophecy ourselves. Of course, I believe at that time you're going to have volcano eruptions, everything just exploding, and possibly divine fire, just like the Bible states that rained down on Sodom and Gomorrah. And so I just had to throw that in there, guys, because I'm not just caught up in the ideological, political debate and fighting that takes place when we see these things. Oh, you're crazy. You're a Russian. You're an American. You're wrong. No, they're wrong. They're all wrong, guys. War is wrong. War is evil. There's corruption in all governments. There is man's interests, man's greed. But just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out on the spiritual side of this, because Vladimir Putin himself has made references to the Bible in his major speeches. Of course, we know there's a schism between the Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. And we can clearly see that the Catholic Church now is condemning Russia. It's siding with the United States, right? And we have the Orthodox Church in Russia, and China, of course, is really no great friend of the Catholic Church or the U.S. So all of this is going to revert back to a spiritual sort of war, and we're starting to see a lot of that being awakened in both countries. So just keep that in mind, guys. And just remember that the truth is stranger than fiction. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for any news concerning more nuclear launches here or tests. But again, I am sort of kind of getting a feeling that we might see a nuclear test by Russia up here near the islands, guys. Keep an eye out for that. Previously I didn't think we'd see a nuclear explosion until the end of the world. But more and more now, I could see the possibility of a small tactical nuclear weapon being used, possibly in Ukraine. But I find it more likely that Russia might carry out a nuclear test as a show of force, like an actual explosion. So just remember that. Anyways, leave me your comments down below, guys. And again, if you could, please give this video a like. Make sure you subscribe. If you disagree with me, feel free to leave your comments, guys. If you're not a Bible believer, then let me know what you think is going to happen politically. And if you are, but you disagree with me, go ahead and let me know. I like seeing what you guys think. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.